going on, guys? Seth Lockard, known as Squeebs. It's my little nickname I have for myself. I like it. Gave it to me in high school. Stuck with it. People give you nicknames. You just stick with things. So Squeebs, FanDuel service for you guys. There's a lot of podcasts out there that talk about, high value players or who they like for the day. I'm just going to be sitting here talking about straight up, who's going to do well. People talk about who they like, who they think are going to, like get 5 times their value or, sleepers. I'm going to give you straight. I'm going to tell you exactly who's going to play well. Mainly NFL, NBA are my two main sports, NBA and NFL. Let's get right to tomorrow. I start out at quarterback. I look at Deshaun Watson. I'm like, that's a tough injury, man. But then I say, is anyone gonna think about Tom Savage? $6,000. He's got speedy wide receivers on the outside. I love Will Fuller. His price increased a little bit, but I like him. I like Hopkins. Hopkins is a little expensive. You could look at Hopkins maybe in a couple lineups. I wouldn't put too much exposure to him because you got Mike Evans and A.J. Green. I think A.J. Green's a good play tomorrow night against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got a tough defense, but they blitz a lot. I think A.J. Green can get outside and get at least 10 catches, 150 yards, a touchdown. I think that's going to be a close game. I think Jacksonville wins it though. I think Todd Gurley and Leonard Fournette are the top running backs, but I'll get to that in a second. But quarterbacks, a lot of these podcasts for NFL, I'm going to talk about the Redskins. They're my team. I'm there for them. They might get smacked tomorrow. I would go Russell Wilson at quarterback if you're trying to pay up a quarterback. But I really think tomorrow is the day to pay down. I think at quarterback, you could go Tom Savage. I love the Rams. The Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL. I think Jared Goff, they're playing a Giants team that can't cover the pass, can't cover the run. They could score 40 points on this team. Jared Goff could have a day tomorrow. So Savage, Goff, I think Matt Ryan, he stays at 7K. He has Julio Jones. He's got to come off at some point. I wouldn't say it's tomorrow, but, if you're looking at him, it's a nice play there. So I'm going down to quarterback. As I said, Savage. I just scrolled down, and I've been looking at it for the past couple of days. Drew Stanton. We've seen him perform in past years. He came in the fourth quarter last week. He threw a pick. But he's playing a San Fran team. He's at 6,400. You could put Stanton in. You could put Savage in. That gives you so much room there to go running back and play Todd Gurley. You could play Todd Gurley and Fournette and then have stacked wide receivers down. You only need Savage and Stanton to get you 20 points to exceed value, and you could have a really good roster there. Let's move on to the running backs. I like Todd Gurley. I also like Leonard Fournette. Those are definitely my top running backs for the day, playing stutter defenses that are just atrocious. And they could give you 30 points. I think Fournette gets you 30. Todd Gurley might get you 20. Another guy that's equal value for Fournette. I gotta go Fournette, but if you want to go lower, Lamar Miller. In the last couple of weeks, he's played extremely well. He scores a touchdown almost every week, and I really think that I like Tom Savage. I think they're going to pass the ball. They've got weapons on the outside, but you're playing a Colts defense who's 19th against the rush, 31st against the pass. I think the Texans, even without Watson, are still going to put up at least 30 points. I think Lamar Miller easily touches the end zone at least once, maybe twice. So I think about rostering Lamar Miller and then going down and getting a Chris Thompson, who's playing Seattle. He's playing Seattle, but they're 20th against the rush and 12th against the pass. He might get outside and get a couple screen passes. I think the Redskins score 17, 20 points. They're going to lose, but I think Thompson gets a couple gets a couple garbage yards and scores once or twice. So those are my top four running backs. I think Gurley, Fournette, Lamar Miller, Chris Thompson. I was looking the other day and I was talking to one of my friends, and I was looking at the J&J trade, and that was buzzing around earlier this week. Who's going to get the carries, Damian Williams or Kenyon Drake? I don't know that answer. I really don't know who's going to play. I think Drake gets the bulk of the carries just because he's more of a power back. Williams is more a pass catcher. Flex leagues, I'd probably go Williams, but FanDuel, Drake might hit the end zone. I think at 4,500, he's worth a play. To if you wanted to go higher at quarterback, and then instead of going Savage or Stanton, you could go Kenyon Drake and play Ezekiel Elliott or Todd Gurley. So I'd look at it. Let's move on to wide receiver. I talked about Hawkins. He's a little expensive, but playing Colts defense, I'd try and get him in the lineup with Savage to get the connection touchdowns. I like A.J. Green. A.J. Green's going against Jacksonville. I mean, they're first against the pass, but A.J. Green's just so explosive, and I think the Jags, they blitz so much that I think A.J. Green can get open a lot. I think he can hit the slants. I mean, he's had over 100 yards in the past couple of games. I think A.J. Green, Andy Dalton hit him. I would even think about, actually, I wouldn't play Andy Dalton, but I think A.J. Green can get you a touchdown or two, and he gets a lot of yards. I think Dalton throws a couple picks, though. That's why I wouldn't roster him. So A.J. Green, behind Will Fuller, I think he's a touchdown machine, even with Savage. And again, playing against the Colts, I think he scores twice. I'm looking at the 8:30 game on Sunday night. I'm looking at the Dolphins. They're not good. And I think Crabtree, either one, Crabtree or Cooper, they're both around the same price, 7,100 to 6,900. Either one is go. I would play, to me, Crabtree because I just think he's more explosive. So I'd go Crabtree, maybe in a lineup or two. Try and pair Crabtree to Fuller because they score a lot. I was doing a lineup the other day. I'm gonna show you my lineup at the end of this of who I think is gonna cook. So wide receivers, I go Michael Crabtree and Will Fuller, and then I go down. I was talking about the Redskins, and I'm not a homer with FanDuel because the Redskins aren't that good of a team, and they don't perform as well, but they do perform fantasy wise sometimes. They get. I used to like Jordan Reed when he played, but he's injured. So when I go to tight end, I'm going to talk about Vernon Davis because the Redskins are so injured that rostering their players, it's value. I mean, Doxson's 5,300. Why wouldn't you roster someone that's 5,300 and is going to score? I mean, we're going to score against the Seahawks. It's going to be a pretty good close game. I think it's going to be a shootout between Wilson and Kirk. But, yeah, I mean, I think Vernon Davis could be a go. I mean, I wouldn't play Vernon Davis and Doxson. I mean, they're both 5,400, so I'd play one of them and try to, improve your receivers or running backs or wherever you want to pay up on. I'd like to pay up on receivers. I'd like to do a Green, Fuller. I'll show you in a second when I'm done here. But tight end, I like Vernon Davis. If you want to go up and play Travis Kelce, then I play down on Doxson. So that's what I do there. Kicker's always a punt for me, but kickers, I try and, figure out who I think is going to get in the red zone the most. And it's about that, and it's about figuring out, which team is going to, score a lot, can get those kicks. So really, it's really what money you have left at that point, in my opinion. But defense to me is huge. I think you have to have a dominant defense to cash in most of the time. But yeah, defense is huge for me. I think that half the time defenses that you get 20 plus or so usually cash in. But I like it. I love AJ Green so much that the Jaguars are so hard to go for. But I like the Jaguars. But I was looking at the Giants and I was confused as why the Rams defense is so low when I think that's one of the best defenses in the league. So I think that's a sneaky play. So for me, it's either Jacksonville or the Rams probably. But it just depends what kind of money you have left. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you my optimized lineup that I think is going to perform and cash out. Obviously, I've got Tom Savage, quarterback. No, low value. You can pay low on him. I loved Gurley and Fournette, my top two running backs. You know, playing Savage gives me the opportunity to play Gurley and Fournette. I stacked my receivers. My favorite receiver is Fuller. I can pair him with Savage, get the connection touchdowns. I love Crabtree over Cooper. I talked about the 8:30 matchup with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are just atrocious defensive team. I think Crabtree scores, as well as Funches. You know, Cam's going to get back to the way he was at the beginning of the season. He's on a slump lately. No Kelvin Benjamin. You know, we heard about that trade. I think Funches gets at least 10 receptions. I think he'll take one or maybe two of those into the end zone. I talked about Vernon Davis. You know, he's low value. No Jordan Reed on the field. Seahawks are not very good, you know, covering the tight ends. So I like Vernon Davis. And then Will Lutz and the Rams defense. Hope you guys enjoy this video. You know, good luck.